So today we're going to see how we can better edit soundtracks and music in Adobe Premiere Pro using the new AI music mixer. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, so remember in the past how we used to edit a soundtrack. So for example, I have this one over here, right? And I'm trying to cut it over here and mix it with the last part that starts over there. So what I would do in the past, like I'm doing here on a screen, you just like press C on my keyboard and then cut the part I want to completely erase from the track, and then delete it and drag this. Oh, sorry, I have to drag this like this, or just like press delete or back on your keyboard, and then go to the audio effects and find something like a crossfade constant gain in audio effects, audio transitions. Then drag and drop this on the audio track 1 and audio track 2, for example, and then go to perhaps the transition panel and try to change something about the settings and hopefully make it even sound better and more natural, which is a very, I would say, antiquated way of editing your soundtracks and audio timeline in general in Adobe Premiere Pro. And instead, what we can do, let me just undo everything I did here. What we can do now, we can go to the Ripple Edit tool, press and hold, then go to Remix tool at the very bottom, and then drag your audio track to where you want to stop. So let's say that you want to start over here. Let me add a marker or something. So I want the track to stop over here, and I want it to sound more natural. And instead of just ending abruptly, I want it to end in a much more pleasing way. So what I would do after I pressed or chose the remix tool, I will go and drag my soundtrack to where I want it to end. And now let it load. It's just going to take a few seconds depending on how long the audio track is. And it even gives you other suggestions, more suggestions to where you can also cut and stop your soundtrack. So let's hear and see how it's going to go right now. So you can definitely notice the difference here, and I'm going to add the before and after just to better recap the video. The difference is quite glaring, right? So it sounds more natural, and you can definitely nitpick on how Premiere Pro extracted a certain loop or a certain part of the track and kept looping it over and over to make it sound more natural. So that was the first trick we have in today's video. The second one, it's very simple yet very efficient if you're working on a YouTube video or working on like a quick gig, or you want to group multiple soundtracks and apply the same effects on all of them so you don't have to go individually and drag and drop each effect multiple times. So let's say that I have, let me drag another soundtrack over here. So as I said, if we have multiple tracks here in the audio timeline, right? And I want to apply the same effect on all of them as a group edit and not necessarily just go to the effects panel, find like a separate track like constant gain or whatever the transition is, and then drag and drop in each one, or even copy and paste from one track to another. There is a much easier way to do this, and that is by go to, like, of course you have multiple tracks here in the timeline, go to Window up in the toolbar, and then go to Audio Track Mixer. So you will have this open, and now because I have only one audio timeline active, so that's what I can interact with pretty much. So you go to this little arrow in the top right corner, click it, and you have all the audio effects that you can possibly find in the effects panel in Adobe Premiere Pro. So once you apply something like, I don't know, amplify, it will apply this effect on the entire audio timeline, all the tracks included. So you won't have to go and re-edit each one individually. So you pretty much get the idea what I'm trying to do here. If we try another one, another effect, let's say delay and echo, multi-tape delay. Let's try that. Let's change this, change the parameters here. You can definitely notice there's just a little bit of a reverb applied to the audio track, and it's going to be pretty much the same case if I move the pointer to the first track in my timeline. And of course, because I'm not a professional sound engineer, so I don't know how to better interact with these audio mixers, but you get pretty much the idea. The whole point of this is just to showcase how in Adobe Premiere Pro you can apply group edits on multiple soundtracks within the same timeline, as opposed to go drag and drop individually. So yeah, that was pretty much everything I had in today's video. Just like a quick, short and sweet editing tutorial. Until I see you next time, stay tuned.